You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, there's a story here that I'm a little confused about. So I'm going to read through this about Cassidy Hutchinson. You know, and maybe it's just me. Maybe it's holiday time, Christmas, New Year's. Maybe I have a reading comprehension problem, or perhaps the people that write news articles just aren't very smart and don't write articles very well. But I want to go through this. Yeah, I want to go through this, and you all out there can let us know in the comments what you think, and maybe it'll make more sense when I read it aloud, okay? Here's the headline. Cassidy Hutchinson says she initially lied to the January 6th committee about Trump allegedly grabbing the steering wheel of his SUV and lunging at a Secret Service agent. Now, this Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony is very, very important in the January 6th. And I believe that the January 6th committee suborned perjury. Remember, that's what Bill Clinton got impeached for. Suborning perjury is when you get someone to lie under oath. You encourage them to do it and get them to do it. And what I found pretty interesting about Cassidy Hutchinson, I'm going to read through this story and we can figure out what is going on here, what the update is with her, because I'm confused about it. She said she lied, and I'm a little confused about all of that.
I think all that matters is that she lied.
Well, yeah, but
that's all that really matters.
I want to go through it so we can figure out what she's admitting to lying about. But the thing about her testimony that was what I mean suborning perjury is if you remember, everything she told was hearsay. Someone told her that he lunged in the car. Someone told her this. Someone told her that. So
yeah,
it was someone relaying this information to her one-on-one. So there was no way to verify it. She wasn't telling a story truthfully, or I know this, it was all BS. Trump couldn't lunge to the steering wheel. There's the glass between and all that, but it's just insane. But she didn't say, I saw this. She never said that. Someone told her about this,
right?
Which to me seems like some lawyer way to get out of perjury. Like you're lying, but you're lying in a way that you can get away with. Like, for example,
first of all, that would never be admitted in a real court of law. It's hearsay.
No, it's hearsay.
Any attorney.
Well, they treated it like the gospel when she testified.
From what I read from the article, what she's saying she lied about is when she initially did the interview, she had told the committee that she did not hear that he lunged.
Well, let me read through the article.
But then when she talked again on camera, she had said that he did lunge, and that's the real story.
Well, we'll read through the article. We'll figure that out because I'm very confused. But lawyers have ways of you lying under oath without perjuring yourself. I give you an example. A lot of times when people are testifying, you'll see this on TV. They'll say, you'll ask them a direct question, and they say, I don't recall. And then you produce some evidence, a video, oh yeah, now I remember. You can't prove whether or not someone is telling the truth about a recollection. And then when you have evidence, a photograph, a video, a document, oh yeah, I remember now.
I was mistaken.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Oh yeah, now I remember. I can recall now. So there's these things. So I want to go through this and then we'll decide. Cassidy Hutchinson, this is in Yahoo News, by the way. Cassidy Hutchinson, a former White House aide in the Trump administration and key witness in the United States House Select Committee on the January 6th attack hearings, said that's a title, said she initially lied to the committee in a deposition about whether she'd heard about President Donald Trump's lunging at a Secret Service agent in the presidential SUV on January 6, 2020. In her newly released depositions with the committee, Hutchinson explains that she was coerced by her Trump-aligned attorney to mislead them on how much information she actually knew. The committee doesn't know what you can or can't recall. Oh, that's like I was telling you. So we want to be able to use that as much as we can unless you really, really remember something very clearly, Hutchinson said the Trump attorney told her. Hutchinson said she followed the advice of her counsel, which was the Trump attorney at the time, And when asked about a moment on January 6th when the president reportedly lunged at a member of the Secret Service in his SUV, which is not even possible, by the way, for not taking him to the Capitol alongside protesters, the whole thing was just stupid. She said she told him she never heard anything about that. Following the deposition, she later told the committee in a separate deposition that she broke down in front of the attorney out of fear that she had just lied to the committee. She said, "I'm effed. I just lied," Hutchinson said. In a later deposition, she told the committee she continued to be racked with guilt after not being entirely truthful in her first deposition. Okay, now I got it. Now I understand. She told two different stories to the committee, right?
Right.
She told a truthful story the first time.
Exactly.
The truthful story didn't get them what they wanted.
Right.
So they put the pressure on her to get her to change her story. So
or they promised her something.
Yeah. She said, I lied.
The first time.
Yeah, I lied this time, but believe me, the second time.
Right.
When I said nothing happened, that was a lie. When I said these things did happen, that was true. I mean, come on.
By the way,
she's an admitted
in a court
liar.
of law, anytime a witness lies at all, at any point, they're completely discredited.
Yeah.
Completely. By both sides. That's just, I'm not a lawyer, but that's just, I'm pretty sure, standard. If somebody lies, I've seen enough court TV, the witness is completely discredited and they haven't, you know what I mean? Nobody listens to them anymore, no matter what, even if it's a tiny lie.
Yeah.
If you watch a lot of ID, they show a lot of interrogations. And the reason they question people mainly is to catch them in some lie, even if it's small. And the minute they caught them in a lie, they got them. Because what they do is the minute they catch them in a tiny lie, they confront them with that lie. And then they get nervous. And then they start spilling their guts.
Yeah.
That's what cops do. Okay, you lied about this. Even it could be the tiniest thing like a timeline, or you said you were here when you were there, or you said the car was green when it's blue. Any little thing like that, and then boom, they got you. So witnesses that lie have zero. But I knew she had no credibility in the first place. I mean, it was obvious she was full of crap.
Well, you know, this Trump derangement from the politicians in Washington is going to be there forever. As long as Trump is with us, as long as there's a MAGA movement, this is the way it's going to be. And what they're trying to do is get any politician, like a Ron DeSantis, they're trying to get any politician to drop MAGA. They want by telling them through Trump. See, what they're doing with Trump now, they're doing a couple things, right? They're terrified that because he's running. The polling data that they have tells them he will win the nomination and win the election.
He's still ahead in a lot of the polls.
Yeah, well, the polls that we don't see are the truly scientific polls, and they're telling them that Trump's going to win everything. So that has them terrified. So that's a part of it. But they're also using him as an example, as a warning to the Ron DeSantises out there. Don't be MAGA, or this will happen to you. They're trying to destroy the movement by continuing to harass Trump for life.
Well, and how they do that is they make it so no politician wants to affiliate with Trump.
That's right.
That's where it would start. Like, they're showing them now. And a lot of people feel it's happening with Marjorie Taylor Greene, that something happened. She's been compromised.
Oh, I know something's happened.
And all of a sudden, she's Kevin McCarthy's best friend. And she's been pretty silent. She's going through this divorce and all this stuff, but you don't really see or hear from her too much.
Yeah.
Like when Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert didn't stand for Zelensky, normally she would be right there with them.
She wasn't with them?
I didn't see her there. I just saw the two of them. Normally, she would be right next to Matt Gaetz. They're like best buds. I saw the video of them sitting.
Well,
I did not see her sitting with them.
This is
6 months ago. She would have been right there.
This is what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She came out and said she wanted to audit all of the Ukraine funding. Next thing I know,
that's right.
she's praising Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
So something happened.
The rumors of the affair and all this stuff. They got something on her.
Who knows? They got something on her. But this...
Or he's promised her something.
This moment we're in right now, this week, is not the major reason, but it's one of the big reasons that they hate Trump, right, in Washington. They've got two big thefts going on here from the United States Treasury. They just passed this omnibus $1.7 trillion budget where they're, get all their money for their earmarks, their friends, their family, their donors, themselves. You know how that works. And then the Ukraine funding at the same time. So they got two huge spending bills where they're grabbing money. And I'm watching Fox this morning when I got off the air. And they're talking about, well, why aren't they, why isn't the United States putting pressure on Europe to pay this? We're paying, I don't know, 3/4 of it or something. I don't know. We're paying the majority of this Ukraine money. Why aren't we making Europe do it? Well, if Europe pays for it and we don't, that means the Washington politicians can't steal money from the funding for their donors, friends, and family. Yeah. So they don't, the Washington people and the Uniparty, they don't want Europe to pay for the war in Ukraine because they can't grab that money.
Is anybody else giving the money other than us? Any other country at all?
They say that we're giving like 3/4 of it, but I don't believe. I believe we're giving almost all, more even than that.
The liberals are enamored of this guy. It's amazing. He comes over here. He's like a Fidel Castro type. I promise you, this guy is going to be dictator and ruler for life. The power's gone to his head, and he's going to be like Fidel. He is going to be in power in that country forever. Yep. And he's going to turn into Putin. I mean, this is what happens when there's an overtaking or there's a war or any thing like this where there's a revolution or anything. Yeah. It happened with Napoleon. It happened with Fidel Castro and lots of other countries. They lead the people, a revolution against a larger power or whatever, and next thing you know, they're in charge and they become the same or worse.
What Zelensky has done is he's outlawed political opposition parties.
Yeah, he's acting like
he's limited the press. He outlawed the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, which is the Russian Orthodox Church.
That's incredible to me.
So there's no freedom of religion, and he's being applauded by the oldest democracy in the world, the United States,
because liberals love dictators.
And
Brian.
he's clamped down on basic liberty inside Ukraine and claiming that he's defending democracy.
And he comes here and demands more money from us. Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's insanity.
Biden should go tell him to F himself, but he's not going to do that.
No, he wants the money.
Trump would. This wouldn't even be happening under Trump. None of this would be happening. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have been invaded. None of this would be going on. And now they pass this omnibus. All liberals know how to do is spend our money. That's it. They're crooks. They just spend the money. It's like an endless treasure trove for them. It's just it's endless. So I'm glad we finally won the House, and hopefully it'll stop some of the bleeding. But there's been so much going on. It's just endless. It's just incredible. I mean, they're all crooks as far as I'm concerned. Trump is the only one who actually didn't want to steal from the American people.
This is what's going on. Trump was the only president since the Second World War to not start a new war.
That's right.
Everyone started a new conflict. Vietnam actually started with Eisenhower, okay? And Truman, that was the Korean War. So and things escalated with the presidents after him, and there were other conflicts, but he's the only president to end a war, and the donors don't like that. Everything that's going on this week, Trump wouldn't allow. This omnibus bill, Trump wouldn't have signed it. This Ukraine funding, there's no way Trump would allow any of that.
Okay, read that. That's more on what she said. She's saying that Trump's team pressured her to lie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now they've updated the headline.
Yeah.
January 6th witness recounts pressure campaign from Trump allies.
Yeah, that they pressured her to tell initially that he did not lunge. First of all,
they proved it's impossible for him to lunge.
It is. It's ridiculous. You've seen that car.
No, this is in the SUV. There is a divider, a glass divider that is not removable for security reasons. Yeah. Between where the passengers sit and the drivers are. It is physically impossible.
Remember, the Secret Service said that. They all said he did not do it. You can't do it. And then they tried to discredit all those guys are Trump's friends. And I tell you, these people are just dishonest. Well, they just lie.
I just want to finish up here, though, with Ukraine and Zelensky, what's going on with Zelensky. We're a little bit all over the place here. I know there's a lot going on for Christmas week. That's why so much is going on this week, because they figure people won't notice because it's Christmas. And a lot of people may not, but we'll notice, and we'll talk about it right here. But what's going on in Ukraine, this is how the war in Vietnam started. There's no such thing as a small war. They all escalate, and there's a lot of money in war. And
every war we've ever had, they tell you it'll be over in 2 weeks or 2 months, or they always say that.
And what's going on here in Ukraine is the beginning of something. Now, one thing I haven't heard anyone ask Zelensky is, what about when there's another election? Right? What about when he's up for re-election? What's going to happen? Well, are they going to have this guy is so up to his eyeballs in corruption. And I'm so glad that other people, Tucker Carlson was doing this. I've been talking about this for a while, but I saw some other people today talking about, including Mark Dice, about how he was dressed. And, coming out in this camouflage uniform, he looked ridiculous. He was wearing this skin-tight sweater, the pants, and they look like construction carpenter boots, the combat boots he's wearing. And, he's in this, like he's fighting the battle, like he just is off the front lines. He flew over here out of the front lines.
I think it's so ridiculous he could not show up in a suit.
Yeah, these lunatics that are talking about global warming, that were, which are Kamala and Biden and Pelosi and all these people that were praising him. He could have done this on Zoom. It's so interesting that they flew him here. And I was reading this morning what went into flying him here because of security. They had a massive,
I saw that.
Massive
Why do you think
air armada flying him here for his protection. Well, the reason they flew him here is because they're out of touch with reality. They think America loves Zelensky, and they wanted him in person in front of Congress for those photographs and everything.
Meghan McCain just wrote an article attacking Tucker Carlson, saying cynics call Zelensky a con man and insult his strip club clothes, but they only debase themselves. Pathetically, they can't see what's to be admired about this man.
I don't see anything to admire.
So she likes him too.
No, she should be ashamed of herself. Her father is famous for being in that prisoner of war camp. This war is going to escalate, and Tucker Carlson asked a lot of questions. Zelensky's goal for the war to be over is not just getting Russia out of Ukraine, but to have regime change in Russia. When you see regime change in these other countries that have happened, it's complete chaos, anarchy, years of violence and revolution. It's terrible.
So you think he's thinking beyond the Ukraine?
Well, if you had regime change in Russia, that's scary and dangerous.
Yeah.
Who's going to replace him?
Maybe him.
What would
maybe
be
Zelensky.
What would it be like in Russia with it's very dangerous. You can't, it's one thing if there's somebody else, like an opposition leader. Okay, we're supporting this guy. He's an opposite. There's none of that. They're just like, well, let's get rid of Putin.
Right.
Well, who's the number 2 guy that would take over for him? Maybe he's worse.
They usually are.
So it wasn't that long ago. Zelensky was talking about the United States using nuclear weapons against Russia preemptively without Russia using theirs, which is insane. This guy was calling for nuclear war a couple months ago. And when I thought it was so strange because when
he was threatening, he was saying that's going to happen. That was another money grab.
Yeah, he was
using fear.
When he was speaking in front of Congress yesterday, it was a joint session of Congress. So Kamala was up there too because she's the president of the Senate. And Kamala, there's this photograph. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Kamala and Pelosi are holding this Ukrainian flag up behind Zelensky.
I saw that.
And the two of them are just glowing.
Yeah, they're in love with the guy.
Well,
the liberals love him, and Meghan McCain apparently.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
When he talks, he sounds like Dracula.
Yeah.
That accent is an awful accent they have, isn't it?
It's really strange.
It is. I know. It's very strange. Well, I was trying to figure out why Willie Brown's girlfriend and Paul Pelosi's beard were grinning so much. Was it because they're just in awe of him?
I think they're in awe of him.
Or is it the money they're taking from the funding?
It's like George Clooney's up there. He's like a celebrity to them. They're in awe of this man, and they're attracted to power and money. That's what gets these women going. You know what I mean? I guess. Power and money. And this guy, he's got a lot of our money, and he's ruling a country, a big country. And he comes over here, and they're just in awe of this man. It's just amazing that. Has there ever been a time when a leader of another country has come over in front of Congress and basically demanded that we give him billions of dollars? When has that happened before?
There's been times, but this is the first. The last, all but one other dressed properly. Okay, the only time someone came that was dressed in a controversial way was Arafat. Arafat didn't wear regular clothes, and he always carried a pistol in a holster, like a gunfighter. And I remember when Yasser Arafat, from the PLO, was coming to the White House when Clinton was president, there was a lot of talk, would he be able to carry his pistol? And they let him. They said it wasn't loaded, but they let Arafat carry his pistol on his hip to the White House. I remember it was a big controversy, and people out there. But with Zelensky, I just don't get it, and you know what it is with the left? They have this fetish for short little guys, Zelensky and Fauci.
Yeah, right.
They just like, there's this, I guess it's the era of the dwarf.
The Napoleon. thing?
I don't
guess.
know.
I don't know.
I don't know. And Zelensky's weird. I mean, when
I think it's just the power.
He's just a weirdo.
They're attracted to that, and they see him as powerful. He's leading a war. He's ruling a country. And, they just, Russia's their big enemy. And I guess they believe when they say that, they believe it. I mean, these people you got to understand.
Yeah.
These people, a lot of them were raised during the Cold War.
Yeah.
They were, Nancy Pelosi in the 50s was a young girl. And she was, raised in that whole era of during Vietnam and the whole communism and all that. And they've always seen Russia as evil, and they were in power during the 80s and all that. They've always seen Russia as the bad guy, the boogeyman, and that's where they're coming from. That era of Russia always. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so maybe that's part of it too.
I probably shouldn't say this to you guys because you're going to think I'm nuts. I said part of this morning on the radio, and I didn't finish what I was going to say because I wanted to think about it first. People think it's crazy, but I haven't even told this to Kathy yet. But I did say the first part. I'm starting to think Sean Penn is like CIA, and I know that sounds nuts, but I have a little add-on to that. Well, if you look at Sean Penn, he's over there with Zelensky. He was with El Chapo. Before the war started in Iraq in 2003, he went over to Iraq with his camera and surveyed for weapons of mass destruction. Remember that?
Remember the guy from the Gong Show? They said he was in the CIA.
Chuck Barris. No, but
that's right.
But this is true. But Sean Penn, how did he find El Chapo? He was over there with Saddam, going to all the facilities before the war. Now he's with Zelensky. So I'm starting to think Sean Penn is like CIA, as crazy as that sounds.
Weren't there actors during World War II that were spies?
Because they have access.
Yeah, so that's not a new concept.
But this is what I was thinking, and this is the part that you'll think is crazy. I don't think him being CIA is that crazy, but this part you might think is crazy. When Sean Penn went to see Zelensky, he did something insane. He gave him his Oscar. And I'm wondering if that Oscar has some kind of bug on it so they can listen in on Zelensky.
You never know.
Zelensky's an actor. An Oscar is a big deal. He's never going to be far from that Oscar. That Oscar is going to be in a very, very prominent place where he is always at.
Probably in his office.
His office, his house, his bed. He'll have that Oscar with him wherever he has private conversations. Yeah. And I'm just wondering if Sean Penn planted bug
he hates
with the
America
Oscar.
too much. He's rooting for the other guy.
I think he's deep state. I really do. I really do think Sean Penn
You're giving him too much
is
credit.
Deep state. He's in all the. How did he track down El Chapo, who was like the most wanted man in the world?
Well,
at the time,
I don't know. I mean, I've always felt Sean Penn was in love.
How
with
did he get in Iraq?
Dictators and
right before the war?
He just makes a phone call and he is Sean Penn and they want to meet him.
I think he hasn't made that many movies,
No, but he's been acting. He was on Little House on the Prairie. He's been acting.
Oh, was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was on an episode.
Really?
He's been acting since the 70s. Yeah.
He was on Little House on the Prairie?
Yep. He was on an episode of Little House on the Prairie.
The first thing I remember seeing Sean Penn in was an HBO movie called Bad Boys.
His mother is a famous actress. She just died.
Really? I did not know that.
She just died, and I didn't know it either. His mother was a famous actress. Let me Google it.
Well, look during the break, okay? Let's take our break while you're Googling that. But you guys let us know in the comments, am I nuts? Could Sean Penn be CIA? We'll take our break and be right back.
Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story. It's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. From author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Diamonds are certainly beautiful, but very expensive. You may not be able to afford diamonds, but you can afford the look with moissanite. Moissanite is a naturally occurring crystal that looks just like diamonds. Jewelry made from this mineral is stunning and very affordable. The Etsy shop, Moissanite Rings Co., that's all one word, on Etsy.com, sells handcrafted, amazing rings, earrings, bracelets, and much more. Shop their diamond wedding and engagement rings and bands. No one will know they are not real diamonds. You deserve better, economical, eco-friendly, and conflict-free fine moissanite diamond jewelry. Available at Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Buy any ring above $100 and you'll get a matching band for just $1. Perfect for yourself or as a gift. Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy.com. Start shopping right now. If you're looking for stocking stuffers for your kids this holiday season, there's a fun novelty gift you'll want to check out. The 4Well Fun Toss Hoop is a gift your kids will use all year round. You can add fun to any meal with the 4Well Fun Toss Hoop. It's a mini basketball hoop that fits on the rim of any mug, bowl, or cup. Make breakfast fun. Your kids will love shooting hoops with their morning cereal or crackers in their soup. It's the perfect gift for everyone. Grab one for your kids, grandkids, or even Secret Santa exchanges. You'll be the holiday MVP. Give the joy of making every meal game time with the 4Well Fun Toss Hoop. Order yours online right now at funtosshoop.com. Use the discount code radio for 10% off your purchase. Visit funtosshoop.com and order your 4Well Fun Toss Hoop.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So you found who Sean Penn's
His
mom
mother is like a character actress. She has been acting since the 60s. She was on... She was in The Twilight Zone. So Eileen Ryan, she's from New York. She's a New York actor.
Who was she in the Twilight Zone movie?
She was on the episode A World of Difference.
Oh, she was actually in an episode of the original Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
That's her. She's a character. If you go to her Internet Movie Database, she's been in a ton of stuff. So I recognize her.
So he didn't make it in Hollywood on his own. He was connected.
Of course not. They never do. Eileen Ryan, if you want to Google her. And if you see her, you'll recognize her. She's been in a lot of stuff. She just passed away this year. I never knew his mother was an actor. So, yeah, he's been acting since the 70s. But it's an interesting theory, him and Chuck Berry working for the government.
Chuck Barris.
That's
the Gong Show guy. Chuck Barris, that was just made up.
He said it. I don't know.
No, but
they did use actors during World War II, you said.
Yeah, the actors have access. Harry Houdini, when he was traveling the world, was spying too for the government.
Right. I remember reading.
Okay,
that.
now I want to respond to some comments I've gotten from people on YouTube this week. Okay, and I read the comments, and I'll respond to you guys. So I do read the comments. Sometimes I'll give a thumbs up or I'll give a heart to a comment. But even though you may not get a thumbs up or a heart from me, I probably have read the comment, okay, because I do read the comments.
Yeah, he'll read them to me too sometimes.
Yeah, I do. I read them and laugh,
Yeah.
But I read the comments because you guys take the time to listen to the program, watch, leave a comment. I think I owe that to you. But I don't respond often more than just a heart or a thumbs up. But if you don't get a heart or a thumbs up, it does not mean that I did not read your comment on Twitter. If you left a comment, I probably did read it. So this week is when the January 6th committee came out and with their recommendations that we knew the committee decided they were going to recommend Trump be charged before they even had their first meeting. The committee decided this before there was even a committee, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this was predetermined. And I was talking about Merrick Garland is going to arrest Donald Trump. And I've gotten some response about this that I'll talk about here in a moment, but this is what I think is going to happen. Garland is going to go to a grand jury and get an indictment, and he's going to charge Trump. Now, when you charge someone in criminal cases like this, you just can't say, okay, you're charged. We're going to court on September 10th. Be there. You've got to arrest them and book them. So I think Merrick Garland is going to do that. And he'll probably come out with a press conference about it and say that I communicated with the Trump team and told them he's got to surrender at a certain date here in D.C., which Trump probably will not do.
That's
and
crazy.
Then they'll break into Mar-a-Lago again and put the and
Oh my goodness.
and I've gotten comments from people on YouTube who say, "Oh, you're no longer MAGA. You're saying that Trump's going." I'm not saying that he's done anything wrong. Trump has done nothing wrong, unless you think making America great again is a federal crime. And I know many people on the left think it is. But Trump has not committed any crimes. The only crimes he may have committed are traffic violations here in Palm Beach when he was younger and he was driving his Lambo and Ferrari or whatever he had around. He used to have like sports cars, very expensive sports cars, and he would drive around here in Palm Beach. And if you look online hard enough, you can find some photographs of him at gas stations filling up. But other than maybe, I don't even know if he got tickets. I've never heard him even getting speeding tickets, but who knows? But other than that, he's never broken the law. He's done nothing wrong. And I'm not saying he has. But something's changed. Okay. And in the past, I didn't think they would go that far. But,
I don't think he did either.
But they have gotten so terrified by how popular he is. See, all these different things they've done to Trump over the years, the different investigations, like this week, they released his tax returns this week. All the things they've done over the years, they thought all of these things would turn us against him. And what it's done is we've circled the wagons, and it's made his support even stronger, and they're terrified of this. So because of that, and like I was talking in the first segment, they obviously think through their polling data that he is going to win the primaries and will win the election in 2024. They're doing all these things. The only way they can stop him at this point is to arrest him, charge him, and try to get a conviction on an insurrection charge, which would bar him from holding federal office. And not just that, it would bar him from campaigning for candidates too and fundraising for candidates. And things have changed to the point where the opposition to Trump that's in power running the government are escalating. And no, I don't know why someone – what am I supposed to lie and say they'll never do something that they're planning on doing?
When you say that, people have to understand – I think most of the audience understands this. You're not saying what you want to happen. You're just saying realistically what
this is their
happen.
Plan.
You're just preparing people.
That's right.
And I think certain things could happen. And I'm not saying this is what I want to happen, but this different scenarios. I think it's possible if they're planning on arresting him, they might go to his lawyers and say, we won't arrest him if he withdraws from running for president and gets out of politics. We'll make you a deal. And he might take the deal. He might say, no way.
Never.
Or they're going to go full throttle, and because I believe they want to see him behind bars, and I think they'll arrest him, and I don't think they'll get him on bail either. I don't think they'll post.
Yeah, Bankman-Fried just is getting bailed out
for the largest bail in history, $250 million. I don't think they'll give Trump bail. I think they'll make him sit and wait behind bars for the trial and all this stuff. They want to see this man. They didn't go to all this trouble for nothing. You know how much work they've put into this, how much effort?
Yeah.
You think they want to be publicly humiliated?
Of course not.
They have had hearings.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on television. This has been going on for years and years and years. They want satisfaction.
Yes.
Okay? And just walking away is not enough for these people.
Mm-hmm.
This is their reputation on the line. And they have been humiliated enough by him, by us, for their own doing. They want satisfaction. They want that man to be behind bars. And I don't think they'll stop at anything to make that happen. And I don't know if he realizes this, or if he does and he doesn't care, or if he thinks, who cares, whatever. But I believe that's what's going to happen. I'm with you. I think they're going to arrest him. I don't think they'll let him do bail. I think they're going to keep him in there. They're going to label him a danger. I think it's a shame. I think it's horrible to do this to a former president, no matter what they feel about him. And I think the whole thing is awful. But people have called your show and they're like, they don't want those optics. They don't give a damn about what people think anymore. They're way past that point. Okay. Mm-hmm. They have been humiliated, mocked. and rightfully so by everybody. They want to win this. And this is in their mind how they win. They want to win it, have resolution, and move on. And the only way they're going to do it is completely destroying this man by putting him in jail.
Yeah.
And it scares me, but I'm telling you, it could happen, guys.
And be prepared. I don't have to defend my MAGA support. There's no stronger supporter of President Trump than me.
That's for sure.
But we can't lie to ourselves about what their plans are.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's what they're planning. And I think President Trump is willing to go all the way. He will never cave. He'll never cave.
He's willing to go to jail and see this through?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you said he could get up to 40 years?
If they convicted him on all these charges. If they convicted him on all these charges.
And you think he would do that?
He would risk it? Yeah. Yeah, he'd risk it. Yeah.
I think he'd make a deal.
He'd risk it. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. You guys let us know in the comments. I don't think so. Now, I wanted to share this story here.
Let me just say before we move on. If he does that, okay, and I've said this before, I don't think it's fair for MAGA to expect him to do that. I mean, how far does this guy have to go for us? You know what I mean? I mean, let me ask you guys this. If he made a deal with them and said, I will drop out of politics, I don't think he'll do this. I think you're right, Brian. But if he said, I will drop out of politics if you don't charge me and I'll walk away forever, would you really be mad at the guy? I mean, how far does this guy have to go for us? Does he have to go to jail for us? I mean, are we allowed to martyr this man in that way to save face? Should we do that? Are we asking too much? Now, I think he'll take it however far he wants to go. And I think you're right. He's probably very stubborn and he's like, look, I'm right. And this is, and he's standing up for his principles and you got to admire that. That's for sure. I don't think I could do that for going to jail, but with that prospect. But if he's made a deal, I wouldn't be pissed at him. Would you? I couldn't blame the guy. I'd say I don't want him to go to jail for me.
Make a deal. Well, first off, if he made a deal, we wouldn't. They would let us know about it. Wouldn't be a secret deal.
No, would you be upset?
So, I will not ever be upset with Donald Trump, no matter what he does. But if he were to make it, he would not make a deal for a number of reasons.
Say he did.
One of the reasons he would not make a deal is because he's not a quitter. But the other thing is, there's no way to make a secret deal. They would make it very public because they want the public humiliation that he caved. There's no way.
Well, they would know because part of the deal would be him dropping out, so that we would know because he would have to drop out.
No, but a lot of times they let people retire and drop out with fake excuses.
I think people would figure it out.
They would not let him do that. They would want the humiliation. No. So no, it's not. Sure. It's not going to happen. Now, I wanted to touch on this story because this is whenever you're in a Christmas week, Christmas and New Year's, the entire month of December to the first week, till the first week of January, and the news is usually filled with fluff stories. Like I was saying earlier, they're pushing through Ukraine funding and the omnibus spending bill this week because it's a holiday time where a lot of people aren't following the news as much as they normally would.
True.
But there's a lot of stories that are like fluff filler stories. And there's a story that on the face of it seems like that, and it's not. This story about the Marines. And I learned something about this in this story that was insane to me. Because when I first read the headline, I thought, this will never happen. And then when I read into the story, I find out that it probably is. The Marine Corps could axe sir and ma'am over gender neutrality worries. Now, let me read through this story. And there's something in this story that tells you that they're probably going to use it. A new report has advised the United States Marine Corps to no longer use gendered terms such as yes, sir, or yes, ma'am.
Wow.
The new academic report stemmed from research conducted by the University of Pittsburgh that was directly commissioned by the United States Marine Corps. So this isn't like some independent group who did some research and told the Marines, we recommend you don't do this. The Marine Corps did this, okay? The report claims the Marine Corps is behind other branches of the military when it comes to using gender identifiers. See, this is what was new to me. I did not know this. The Army, Navy, and Coast Guard have, for the most part, gotten rid of gender identifiers such as sir and ma'am, but instead address drill instructors by their rank and last name. Okay. Now, I don't know what happens beyond basic when they, because in the service, when you're in basic training, you call the drill instructors sir or ma'am, but the drill instructors are enlisted. So after basic training, you call them by their rank. But the officers, you say yes, sir,
right,
yes, ma'am, and all that. The Marine Corps Times broke the story, and instead of saying ma'am or sir, recruits refer to drill instructors using their ranks or roles, followed by their last names. Gendered identifiers prime recruits to think about or visually search for a drill instructor's gender first before their rank or role. This is not a fluff story or a minor story or a joke story to laugh about. The gays in the military debate, it started when Bill Clinton ran the first time, is when it was really heavily being discussed. And then when Bill Clinton ran for president the first time, he promised to allow gays to openly serve. And then when he became president, the military leaders put pressure on him, and he came up with the don't ask, don't tell. But now you got openly gay people in the service. And a lot of people talked about how destructive that would be to the military. I don't know if it has been or not openly gay people in the past, but when you're doing away with gender in the military and you're getting involved in all this, I don't even know, all this transgender and multi-gender things, that is a further weakening of our military. We're just not military ready. And I've been telling you guys for quite some time that there's a propaganda war going on here on this gender affirmation stuff from China that's weakening our military age people.
Yep.
And, Kathy and I, we were at the mall a couple days ago shopping, and I saw a bunch of different dads with their kids, the age of dads that have kids that are like 5 to 12. The guys are so girly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The guys are so girly. These are guys that they got 12-year-old sons, and they probably don't know how to jump a car or check the oil. You know what I mean? They're just effeminate.
What's going on, and China is attacking us on so many. People might think we sound crazy or paranoid. No, not at all. It's the feminization of men, and women are in on this too. They don't realize it. There's a lot of useful idiots here, but Hollywood is really, I believe, being massively controlled by China. And I think they're having a huge influence, directly or indirectly, on content. And you and I were watching...
because they want the China market.
We were watching an FBI show. I don't watch those shows, but I like the one with Dylan McDermott because I like him. I think he's good looking. But the other one in Europe you were watching. And you said to me, look in this show, the whole team of FBI agents, and there's like 6... It's all women except one black guy. All women.
Who barely talks.
They've gotten rid of all the white men pretty much on a lot of these shows. And so this is how they solve the problem of misogyny, by being misandristic. And you have now men are bad, and the men that are on there are subservient to the women. And they're usually minorities or gay, or the white men forget it. And if there's a white man, he's a big wimp. So this is going on in Hollywood too. If you watch a lot of shows like Star Trek Discovery or other shows, it's all women. And look, I'm all for women's lib and all that stuff, but it's now going, the pendulum is swung in the opposite direction, and now they're maligning men and making men non-existent, which is what they accuse the men of doing. So it's just amazing to me, but this is filtering into all aspects of society where women are becoming the dominant sex, at least mentally, not physically ever. That'll never happen. Men are just stronger. But you have all these lines being blurred, okay? And this is only going on in this country. This is not going on in Asia or Europe.
Well,
this
Kathy,
kind of BS. This is going on here in America, where you have all this weird gender fluidity and lines. It's confusing.
Like what Kathy's talking about with the TV shows, everyone in charge is a woman. And it's okay for women to be in charge. But is it believable that everyone in the room is a woman? And if I'm a big science fiction fan. You go back to science fiction, and there's movies like where astronauts land on Mars, and Mars is run by women. There's been, and it's like, this is crazy. And there was even an episode on the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation where they went. The episode is called Angel One. I'm a big Star Trek fan. It's called Angel One.
We all know.
And it's in the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which is just a terrible season. It's not very watchable. But they go to this planet where a Federation ship crashed many years ago, and the planet is run by women. There are men, but they're like these guys, these dads at the mall. They're very effeminate and everything else, and the women are like men. And it's ridiculous,
They're
right?
reversing the gender roles.
And now we're living in what used to be considered just bizarre science fiction.
Yeah.
And, and there's a few things going on. We got this gender confusion, the feminization of men.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because of all this gender confusion, the birth rate is going to be drastically reduced in this country. They're bringing in millions of illegals in the southern border and our birth rate cannot keep up with that. It's part of this great replacement theory everyone's always talking about. And that is it's happening on so many factors. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the age, the dad generation with kids that are 12 years and younger are just, there's not many of them that I would consider men.
Well,
this
is not totally new. This really started.
They have wives. I don't know.
This really started in the 90s on a smaller level.
The metrosexual.
And where men were taking letting their children have too much control in the home. And when I was teaching, I had this thing happen. I had parents' conferences all the time. I taught middle school, which was crazy. And I remember I was in one parents' conference with the father and the mother and the son was a problem. And we were having a conference to deal with his behavior. And the mom was talking, and the son looked at the mom and said, "Shut up, bitch," right in front of the father.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what the father did? Nothing.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Now, let me tell you something. When I was a kid, okay, my little brother got in a fight with some girl in our driveway. He was like 10 years old, and some girl was there, one of his friends, and my dad happened to be outside cleaning the boat, and my brother told her to shut up. My dad instantly, my dad's old school, got off the boat. He grabbed my brother by his arm or ear or whatever, and he dragged him in the house. He didn't hit him. He didn't hit him. My dad never hit us. But he said, "Don't you ever talk to a woman or a girl that way, ever." My dad hated that kind of behavior. He said, "You act like a man, and you show you don't do that. You don't do that." And he did not put up with it. And the fathers of today, they put up with it. They don't discipline their children at all. The children discipline.
Yeah, that's
parents.
true. Well, let us know in the comments if you're noticing that these. Oops, sorry, I just dropped my mic, but I grabbed it before it hit the floor. That was a good catch. Let us know in the comments if the new dad generation,
they're wimps,
just don't look like men.
They don't look like them. They don't act like them.
Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments. We're going to take our break. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
If you're an athlete, you know the importance of peak performance. Your mental state is as crucial as your physicality when it comes to athletic success. At tiebreakerpsych.com, you can learn mental skills and sports psychology techniques to improve your performance. You will work with sports psychology coach Josh Berger, MS, to learn and build a skill set of mental skills that you can utilize to be the best competitor you can be. Their services include individual sports psychology, where you can work one-on-one with Josh to develop a customized sports psychology game plan based on your core values, your goals, your age, and your athletic level. Or utilize his skill with the group support psychology sessions. Here, teams and organizations take part in workshops and games designed to teach sports psychology skills and enhance team cohesion. Sign up today at tiebreakerpsych.com. That's tiebreakerpsych.com. Are you tired of trying to lose weight without success? Watch the pounds melt away with the book, The Fasting Bible, How to Lose Weight, Grow Younger, and Heal Your Body in 30 days or less. Available on Amazon from author Lynn Hardy. Fasting without proper knowledge and guidance is dangerous. Give yourself all the tools and information you need to successfully fast without struggling or harming your body. With the Fasting Bible, you'll discover the countless benefits of fasting while learning practical tips to help you get started and stick with fasting. You'll learn how to properly adjust fasting to your lifestyle so you can stay healthy and active without being hungry. If you're looking for ways to reduce chronic pain, balance your hormones, lose weight, and improve your heart and brain health, this is the fasting book you've been searching for. From author Lynn Hardy, The Fasting Bible, How to Lose Weight, Grow Younger, and Heal Your Body in 30 days or less. Available in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Romance lovers, there's a young adult romance novel you don't want to miss. Fall into a story of friendship, family, and first love. In the book Crescendo from author Allison Sanders, available on Amazon. Lauren Page is an incredibly talented violinist. She's just a summer away from starting her life in New York City at one of the most prestigious art schools in the country. Yet, she's having a difficult time finding that old spark within her. Her fears of self-doubt grow. But when an amateur skateboarder named Connor falls into her, he tries to show her that she's everything she fears she won't be. Crescendo is a page-turning young adult romance novel that you will not want to put down until the very last page. It tells the story of a girl who's trying to figure out her life just before it really begins. From author Allison Sanders, Crescendo, available in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now on Amazon. From author Douglas Hurley comes your next must-read book, No Solace in Death, a hard-boiled detective novel available on Amazon. Meet private detective Benjamin Thomas. He's hired to find Beatrice, a woman with a troubled past, a smarmy ex-husband, a cunning insurance salesman, a landlord with knuckle dusters, and a psychiatrist with links to MK Ultra. They all seem to have played a part in her disappearance. Ben follows a trail of dead bodies down a rabbit hole where he uncovers a sinister plot certain to change America's future. His final showdown against the conspirators not only has him facing death, but the loss of his soul. What happens next? Find out when you read No Solace in Death, a hard-boiled detective novel from author Douglas Hurley, available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. I want to thank our Patreon supporters. You guys, you're there for us. You support this program. Kathy and I very much appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much to all of our Patreon supporters. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on each and every episode. I want to thank Andrew and Connie. These are our top Patreon supporters. The names you'll hear now are, of course, our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, and Rome, Wisconsin, our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. And, of course, you can also find a link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com.
I want to say, because it's almost Christmas, there's a huge, for those of you who live up north, a Merry Christmas, by the way. There's this huge storm coming, this huge blizzard. I'm going to watch because I'm fascinated by weather, and for some reason. And there's this huge, now you've lived in blizzards. I've never been in a blizzard. Huge blizzard that's going to sweep across the whole Midwest and the Northeast. Apparently, it's going to be so cold. It's actually going to be in the 40s here. It was supposed to be in the 30s, but now it's warming up a little bit. But northern Florida might see some snow flurries. We had flurries when I lived in Tallahassee a couple times. It got in the 20s sometimes. But so anybody who lives in that area, you're probably going to, as we say down here, hunker down. That's what they say all the time during hurricane, hunker down and be safe. And Sarah, one of our listeners, had told us that her heat went out last night. She lost her power.
And she's in Colorado.
She got it fixed, I think, because that's not good. You could freeze to death if you don't have power. And I don't know, you've been in these blizzards. Do you lose power?
You can.
I would imagine you do a lot.
You can, yeah.
So what do you do now? A lot of these homes have fireplaces.
You freeze.
Well, a lot of them have fireplaces, so you can do that. But what do you do if you live up north, you don't have a fireplace, it's freezing cold, it's like 10 degrees.
I have no idea.
And you lose your power. What do you do? I mean, do you light a fire in your living room?
No,
what the hell
you burn your house down.
What do you do? I'm just kidding.
I was just a kid when I lived up north. I didn't have to worry about those things.
You don't remember ever losing power, and I guess you bundle up in a bunch of blankets.
We had bad blizzards, but I don't remember losing power. I do remember.
Did you have a fireplace?
No, but I remember being so cold that I would sit over the heating vent on the floor
They said this is going to be so
to get the
cold
heat. Yeah.
that if you go outside in some places, you'll get frostbite in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I guess I've had a little bit when I was in Canada.
Oh, it hurts.
I would go outside and like the tips of my ears where it's like very thin cartilage or my fingertips would start to hurt and it would be so cold. And my mom would say, that's like, you got to, because that's like you're heading into frostbite. It's like a little bit of frostbite. And I'm like, I never realized cold hurts when I was younger.
Oh, it hurts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it hurts
a
a lot.
And so I would get that. It's almost like you get like a burning feeling, really bad.
Yeah, and right now though in Florida, right before we started the podcast, Kathy said, "Oh, can you turn the air down? It's a little warm." So we have not only have the air conditioning running,
it's like 80 here.
I am under the vent and it's blowing ice cold. I think we set it for like 69, 70 degrees right now.
Well, my cousins just came down from Canada this week.
It's hot in
They're
Florida.
snowbirds now. They're staying here for 4 months. And they have a house here in Boca, and so they're down here. And my cousin Megan just made it down today, flew down, and she's lucky because if she had flown tomorrow, she probably wouldn't make it. A lot of flights are going to be canceled, but yeah, it's nice and toasty, but it's going to get a little chilly. We're going to have a cold Christmas for the first time since I can remember. Usually it's like 80 degrees in December. It's warm until January, but it's going to be
it's
in the
cold.
40s
It's
and
cold
50s.
for me right now because I'm under the air conditioning vent that's set for 69 degrees, but it's hot here in Florida.
So stay safe, all of you guys, and let us know if you live up north. What do you do if you have no fireplace and you lose power?
Yeah.
What do you do to stay? Do they have battery operated space heaters? Maybe they do.
I don't know. I do know
Scary.
that the weather it's so warm here in Florida. When I've been going to work in the mornings, it's dark outside. I've got the air conditioning on in the car.
Well, it's going to get cold tomorrow night. In fact, it's getting so cold for us. I'm putting on the MyPillow flannel sheets.
Oh, good.
Tomorrow night, I've got them planned. They're
That's
Christmas
good.
green. And I've been waiting for a cold snap, and now it's coming. So
Well,
they're going on the bed tomorrow night.
The MyPillow sheets, flannel or regular, are under $30 with our promo code Kane at checkout, KANE. So.
If you don't have them now, I tell you, if you have them, you're lucky during this storm.
Yeah.
But if you don't have them, you got it, and you live up north especially, you have to order them. They really are nice and cozy.
Now, I just want to talk for a minute here about this Bankman-Fried FTX guy getting bail. This is insane. This bail, because I'm looking at this, it's how much? It's $250 million, right?
Yeah.
Let me read through this story. A federal judge released FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried on $250 million bond. The judge said he'll be under strict supervision following his release to his parents' house. According to reports, the bond was secured by equity in his family home and assets from his parents and two other individuals. He was extradited from the Bahamas. He'll be released on $250 million bond while awaiting trial for fraud and other criminal charges. The terms of his personal bond were agreed to by prosecutors. It goes on and on. This guy is a man of means. He came up with this $250 million bond. I don't know how much they had to come up with. $25 million. They got to secure. I don't know how that works. I've never been arrested, but I just heard him say last week he had $100,000 left. Now he was able to get the biggest bond ever in history. This guy is very likely to flee. He could. There are countries that don't have extradition, and don't believe that he has no money. Guys like this, these uber rich guys, they always got money somewhere. Okay, you may not know about it, but they always got money somewhere. This guy should not be out on bond. It's bizarre. They want him to flee. They don't want this guy to go to trial because there's too much involvement with the Democrats.
He might end up like Snowden, or
he could go somewhere. Yeah. I don't know all the countries where they don't extradite.
He can go to Russia,
but I bet he does.
Go to Russia.
Yeah, I bet Bankman-Fried knows all the countries that don't extradite. He could go to one of these, and that's it. And he's the number 2 donor to the Democrat Party. I want to ask you guys this: if the number 2 donor to the Republican Party had done what he did, do you think he'd get bond today? I don't think so. They're trying to put Trump in jail.
I know.
And they're letting Fried out, Bankman-Fried out. Are you kidding me? This guy, I don't think there'll ever be a trial. This is the largest financial scandal in history. He was involved in money laundering with Zelensky through FTX to pay for the Democrats' reelection midterm whole thing. The only person who donates more money to the Democrats is George Soros. They're not. This trial will never happen because they don't want all these things out. If he flees somewhere and there's never a trial, nothing ever gets out. There's no discovery and all of this. So I think he has been let out so that he can flee. And where he goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
But don't believe that he has no money.
Yeah.
This guy's got money stashed all over the place.
There's so many places you can hide it for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if he fled to Ukraine. Tell you the truth, he's probably got a lot of money. He did business with Zelensky, bought $100 million worth of FTX coin.
Yep.
So it would not surprise me if he. That may be why Zelensky's here to take him back. I don't know.
Maybe the timing is kind of weird,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of weird. He gets out of jail right when Zelensky's heading back home.
It just amazes me.
Put him in the cargo hold.
Everything they're doing to Trump. You look at the Bidens, the whole Biden family of all the crime they're involved in.
Yeah.
You look at Bankman-Fried, you look at Zelensky, and Trump's the bad guy.
I know.
Doesn't it make you sick?
Yeah, it does.
It makes
Trump
me
will be
sick.
the bad guy for as long as he's around.
Yeah,
he'll be the bad guy.
they make
Even
him,
afterwards, he'll be the bad guy.
They make him the bad guy because he's the only good guy.
Yeah. No, the left love a good villain.
Well, I tell you guys this, and a lot of people don't understand or think I'm crazy about this. These people in Washington are so corrupt, they don't know they're corrupt. They don't know another way.
Well, they
think honesty is corruption.
They live in that bubble, and that becomes their reality. Corruption, lying, deception, power, money, orgies.
Yeah.
This becomes their reality. And you told me that there was a couple that you and Steve knew that was on Oprah that was into swinging.
Yes, business people.
And they went on Oprah. They were very well known local business people, and it ruined their business.
Yeah.
And you said to Steve, why would they go on TV on Oprah and talk about this swinging lifestyle? And Steve said, because when you're in that life, that's normal to you. And that's true for politicians. Once you get in that world, same with Hollywood, and you get in that world, that becomes your new normal, and you get adjusted. People adjust to situations very well, and you get adjusted to it, and it does become your normal. And you forget about what it's like to be a normal person. You forget what that feels like or how to act. And you're acting differently. You're thinking differently. Your brains are malleable and adaptable to the situation. And you start rationalizing in your mind things like, well, this might be not such a great thing I'm doing, but it's for the greater good. And the more you do that, the more corruption you do, the easier it gets. It becomes second nature to you. And after a while, you don't even think about it. You just do it like it's like second nature.
That's right.
It's like, oh, it's just part of my person. That's
right.
normal,
That's right. Well, listen, we're all out of time for today, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.